Hello and welcome to this edition of Cedar Falls City News. I'm your anchor, Nathan Greve. All this and more coming up next. So first and foremost, you'll want to change how you start your car. In the cold months, it's always a good idea to start your car and let it run for a few minutes before you actually drive anywhere. Now there isn't really a hard rule for this, but usually a few minutes will allow your engine to warm up enough that the oil and coolant are able to warm up to their optimal temperatures. It's also important to avoid running your car especially hard when the engine is still cold. When the oil gets cold, it gets really thick, meaning that it won't be able to lubricate the moving parts of your engine as well as it should. And even after letting your car run for a few minutes, it's not going to be enough to get your oil out to its optimal thickness. You could damage your engine if you push it too hard. Now you might notice when you're driving that your car sounds a little bit louder, or if you've got a tachometer, you may see that your engine's running at a slightly higher RPM than at other times. Now this is normal, it's just the engine's computer accounting for the colder air, and it's allowing the engine to run slightly differently. After a while, you should hear your revs drop down to a normal level. Now that you've got your car started, the next step that you're going to need to change is how you handle your acceleration. You'll need to give your gas pedal a lighter touch than when you're driving in the pavement. Now it goes without saying that your tires are more likely to spin on packed snow than on dry pavement, and putting the pedal to the metal is only going to result in spinning your tires without actually going anywhere. Now there are some ways to help with this loss of traction issue. If you've got a front-wheel drive car, that's your Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, and most other small to mid-size cars, you'll have an advantage when it comes to traction. The weight of your engine is directly on top of the driving wheels that are propelling the car, meaning that they'll be in firm contact with the road. You can still spin your wheels, but you're going to get better traction than in other cars. If your car is rear-wheel drive, like a Mustang or another performance-oriented car, you'll have some issues with traction. For instance, a Mustang has a 57 to 43 weight distribution ratio, meaning that 57% of the weight is at the front end of the car. The rear end of the car, which is where your wheels are actually pushing it, the driving wheels, is comparatively light, so the driving wheels won't be in as firm a contact with the road. A really commonly used tactic to combat this is weighing your car down with sandbags or other weights. Your fuel economy might suffer, but you'll be able to drive in the snow with greater ease. Some people will swear by all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicles, but they're only somewhat helpful in the snow. While a big 4x4 truck will probably be able to pull you out from a ditch, it'll get the same traction as any other car on a road that's covered in hard-packed snow because its tires will slip just as much. Now, speaking of slipping, another thing that you're going to have to look at is braking. You'll need to brake far earlier than usual to allow for some slipping on ice and snow. In normal conditions, your brakes will slow the spinning of tires, which are hot and will stick well to the road. In the snow, your tires tend to lock up since they aren't really sticking at all to snow or ice. Most newer modern cars have an ABS or anti-lock braking system to help eliminate the problem. Simply put, when your car detects that the tires are locking up under braking, the car will begin to release the brakes and reapply them to your car faster than you ever could. This keeps your tires moving so you don't spin out. But what if you don't have ABS, or if your system were to, for some reason, become disabled? First, you need to be prepared. Get in the habit of checking your dashboard, making note of any lights or warnings that shouldn't be there. That's something that applies in the summer and winter, no matter what. If your ABS light is on, there could be an issue with the system, and you shouldn't expect it to work. Next, don't panic. People drove without ABS for almost a century, so it is possible for you to slow down your car without it. Now, rather than slamming on the brakes like you normally would, that'll just end in a skid, so pump the brake pedal. This will allow your wheels to keep moving when you let back up off the brakes in a way similar to what ABS does for you, just slower. Also, keep your steering wheel pointed straight ahead. Don't try to turn the wheel to avoid the problem, or else you risk fishtailing or sending your car into a spin. Another system that's designed to help avoid skids and spins is one that's sort of the opposite of ABS. Traction control is a system that detects your wheels spinning faster than they should be, like if you were to try to do a burnout. The traction control system will cut power from your car to slow down your wheels. Some more advanced forms of traction control, like StabiliTrak, will work very much like ABS and apply the brakes to different wheels as it detects the wheels spinning, and it can do this almost 100 times in 1 second. While you're turning your car, you need to remember to make broad motions rather than short, quick turns, as these will just result in your car sliding in a straight line the way you were headed. It's important to remember that even a small car can weigh over 2,000 pounds, and that sort of weight can't be moved around as quickly as you might think.
Once every decade, the date falls into a very peculiar alignment, one that might look a little familiar to both bakers and mathematicians alike. That number is 3.1415, the first few digits of pi. On March 14, 2015, the merchants of downtown Cedar Falls will be celebrating this rare event with a number of pi-themed shopping specials and fun activities. Pi can be many things. It can be the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, or it could be something a little easier to swallow. Kitchen Essentials knows quite a bit about the latter and how it figures into the celebrations.
At Kitchen Essentials, we are going to have a drawing for some prizes in the store, and we will be serving food that day. We will be participating and sponsoring the pie baking contest and offering up prizes for each category. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll have lots of participants. The advice I would have is everything has to be homemade, so no purchased crusts. I think, bring your best ingredients, your most original pie, your tastiest one, or the one that Grandma made that's your favorite. I'm excited to have all the people downtown participating in this event. Be sure to come downtown and participate. It'll be a lot of fun.
Another kind of pie comes from Italy, the pizza pie. Tony's La Pizzeria is all set to join in the festivities with their pies.
Here at Tony's La Pizzeria, we are going to partake by having a slice eating contest. One of our pizzas we are known for is our New York style pizza. It's an 18-inch pizza cut into 6 slices. Most little kids love it because the slice comes out as big as their head. So we figured out kind of a fun way to do it have a slice eating contest for kids ages 12 and under. They can register that day, March 14th, anytime between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., and then come back at 3 p.m. for a slice eating contest. We're gonna see how many slices their little bellies can polish off. I don't know, some little kids can surprise you. I've seen a couple little kids eat more pizza than their parents. So I think it could be pretty interesting.
In addition to the pie-related fun, there's a well-known person who celebrates his birthday on Pie Day, Albert Einstein. Peekaboo Baby and Gifts is hosting an Einstein photo contest for children 4 and under.
And there's lots of ways that people can get involved. You know, if you're talented at baking pies, you can enter the pie baking contest. If you think you're really good at eating pizza, you can do the pizza slice eating contest. If you've got a little one, you know, you can enter them in the baby Einstein photo contest. So there's lots of opportunities for people of all ages to get involved, which is really cool. I think I'm most looking forward to the attendee participation in the event because we're encouraging people to dress up as nerds, and I think that when we have these kind of contests where the people who are attending get to get involved, they go all out, and it's fun to see that, and it's fun for the merchants too, you know, because then it carries over into them having fun as well. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, so I think that there's a lot of significance in that. We're never going to do this again, probably in our lifetimes. So that's kind of a big deal, and it's unique. We've never done a lot of these activities before, which is exciting.
Of course, everyone has a different pie that they like best. My choice is one covered with pepperoni and mozzarella cheese.
My favorite pie would be a dark chocolate cream pie with lots of whipping cream and chocolate curls on top, and a wonderful graham cracker, or even a chocolate crust. That would be my favorite, most delicious pie.
I would have to go with my grandmother's homemade cherry pie with the fresh cherries picked off the cherry tree. It was always a pain because we'd always have to help her pit all the cherries, and I swear it took us all day to make one pie, but it was so good, especially with the fresh ice cream.
No matter what your favorite pie might be, there's something for everyone in downtown Cedar Falls, so make a rational choice and check it out all day on March 14th. For Channel 15 City News, I'm Nathan Greve. The Cedar Falls Water Reclamation Division will continue their rehabilitation project after meeting with approval from the City Council. To date, 31 miles of sewer pipes citywide have been rejuvenated, and this $300,000 project will update an additional 12,050 feet, just over 2¼ miles.
A lot of the sewer system in Cedar Falls is built on clay pipes. That was the primary material of choice in decades past, and after some time in the ground, that clay pipe can deteriorate. There's a lot of joints. Clay pipes typically only came in 3 or 4 foot sections, so in a 300-foot long city block, if you're looking at 3-foot sections, you're looking at 100 joints that potentially could go wrong. Well, the danger of neglecting and not getting liners in when you have the opportunity is if a section of line deteriorates to the point that you do have to do an excavation to repair it. Most city sewer lines are right underneath the middle of the street, so if you had to dig up and repair a bad sewer line, it involves tearing out the street surface, digging 7, 8, 9, 10 feet deep, big hole, lots of mud, a lot of mess, a lot of inconvenience. We don't want to do that unless we absolutely have to. And by putting this liner in one of these old sections of city clay pipe, you're able to seal up an entire city block for just a fraction of the cost that it would take to dig up and replace any of that material.
While the clay pipes originally used to construct Cedar Falls sewer systems have proven to be rather durable after 100 years of use, they do eventually break down. Rather than start a lengthy and expensive excavation process, a newer process is used to seal the old pipes.
a resident will just see a big white truck sitting down at the corner over the top of a manhole, and they might see another crew of people at the next manhole downstream at the next corner, and it's all done surgically. The liner is inserted as a limp fabric. That limp felt fabric is saturated with epoxy resins. So this dripping wet sock is drugged through the line, and then it's sealed and inflated to create the round shape. It just takes the shape of the host pipe that you're lining, and it blows it up to the full 360 degrees, and then either hot water or steam is injected into the pipe to raise up the temperature to 140 degrees, which is the curing temperature for those epoxy resins. And after being exposed to that heat, those resins turn rock solid, and you have a very solid pipe within the old pipe with no holes, no joints, no leaks. It's a process that usually takes 3 to 4 hours to do one city block if there aren't complications.
The process is so unobtrusive that residents might not even know that they'd received a brand new sewer, if not for the notice that they're given before any work begins. Any process that can save so much time, effort, and money while simultaneously going almost unnoticed certainly is a welcome upgrade. For Channel 15 City News, I'm Nathan Greve.